When nothing in your life seems to be working, pause for a moment. Do not rush past this feeling. Do not ignore it, because this moment is more important than you think. There are seasons in life where everything feels blocked. Plans do not move. Doors do not open. And no matter how much effort you put in, nothing seems to respond the way you expected. You try again. You push harder. You tell yourself maybe you just need to do more. Maybe you just need to stay strong. Maybe you just need to keep going a little longer. But still, nothing changes. And slowly, without even realizing it, something begins to build inside you. A quiet pressure. A silent weight. A constant tension that follows you through your day. You start thinking more than usual. You replay your decisions. You question your path. And sometimes, you even question yourself. Was I wrong? Did I miss something? Am I not doing enough? And the hardest part is not just that things are not working. It is that you do not understand why. Because when there is no answer, your mind keeps searching. It keeps trying to make sense of everything. It keeps going back to the same questions. And over time, that becomes exhausting. Not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, deeply exhausting. You feel tired. Tired of trying. Tired of waiting. Tired of hoping something will finally change. And in that quiet place, it can start to feel like you are stuck. Like nothing is moving. Like nothing is working. Like everything is standing still. But listen carefully. This moment is not empty. This moment is not a sign that your life is falling apart. And this moment is not where your story ends. In fact, this moment may be the exact place where something is being prepared. Something you cannot yet see. Something you cannot yet understand. And something that is happening beyond your control. Because not every closed door is rejection. And not every delay is failure. Sometimes, things stop working. So you stop depending only on yourself. So you stop forcing what is not ready. So you stop trying to control everything at once. And instead, you begin to turn your attention toward God. Because when nothing is working, this is not where everything ends. This is where your dependence begins to shift from yourself to something greater than you. And right now, even if you cannot fully see it yet, something inside you is beginning to change. Something is beginning to settle. And even if your situation has not changed, your perspective is starting to shift. Because the moment you stop forcing everything and start trusting God is the moment your life begins to move in ways you cannot control, but will eventually understand. As you stay in this moment, begin to notice what is happening inside you. Because most of the time, you keep moving without stopping. You go from one task to another, one thought to another, one responsibility to the next, and you never really give yourself the space to process what you are carrying. So everything begins to build up. Not all at once, but slowly, quietly, until it becomes a weight that you feel but cannot fully explain. You carry conversations that stayed in your mind. You carry moments that did not go the way you expected. You carry thoughts about what could have been different. And without realizing it, you carry all of that into the next moment. And the next. And the next. Until eventually, your mind becomes full. Not loud in an obvious way, but crowded. Constantly thinking. Constantly replaying. Constantly searching for something to hold on to. And that is where the tension begins. Because when your mind does not have space, it cannot rest. And when it cannot rest, everything starts to feel heavier than it actually is. Even small things begin to feel overwhelming. Even simple decisions begin to feel difficult. And you start to feel like something is wrong. Even if you cannot clearly explain what it is. And in that state, you try to fix everything. You try to figure it all out. You try to solve every problem at once. But the more you try to control everything, the more pressure you create inside yourself. And that is where exhaustion begins. Not because life is impossible, but because you are carrying more than you were meant to carry alone. And right now, this is the moment where you begin to see that clearly. You begin to realize that not every thought needs your attention, that not every worry deserves your energy, and that not everything inside your mind is meant to stay there. Because holding on to everything is not strength, it is weight. And that weight is what has been draining you. But something is starting to change. Right now, you are no longer trying to hold everything together. You are no longer trying to fix everything at once. Instead, you are beginning to step back, to slow down, to create space between you and everything that has been overwhelming you. And that space is where your peace begins. Because when you are not reacting to everything, you begin to see more clearly. When you are not chasing every thought, your mind begins to settle. And when you stop trying to carry everything, you begin to feel lighter, not because everything has been solved, but because you are no longer holding it all alone. And right now, this is where the shift begins. As you continue in this moment, something begins to become clearer to you. The problem was never just what is happening around you, it is what has been happening inside you. Because when your mind is full, everything feels heavier than it really is. And when your thoughts are moving without rest, even small situations begin to feel overwhelming. You start reacting faster. You start thinking deeper than necessary. You start trying to understand everything at once. And without realizing it, you create pressure inside yourself that was never meant to be there. But right now, you are stepping out of that pattern. You are beginning to see things differently. Not everything that feels urgent is important. Not everything that enters your mind is true. And not everything that is delayed is meant to happen right now. And that realization changes everything. Because instead of trying to control everything, you begin to release. Instead of forcing outcomes, you begin to trust. And instead of holding on to every thought, you begin to let them pass without following them. And that is where your peace starts to grow. Not because your situation has changed, but because your response has changed. And that is more powerful than you think. Because when your response changes, your entire experience begins to shift. What once felt overwhelming now feels manageable. What once felt heavy now begins to feel lighter. And what once felt confusing begins to make sense. Slowly, one step at a time. And in this space, you begin to understand something important. You were never meant to figure everything out at once. You were never meant to control every outcome. And you were never meant to carry every burden by yourself. Because there are things in your life that are not meant to be solved by effort, but by surrender. And right now, you are stepping into that surrender. You are allowing yourself to release the need to understand everything. You are allowing yourself to let go of the pressure to fix everything immediately. And you are allowing yourself to trust, even when you do not have all the answers. And that is where something deeper begins to form inside you. A quiet sense of stability, a steady kind of calm that is not dependent on everything being perfect, but on your willingness to let go and trust God with what you cannot control. And as you stay in this awareness, your thoughts continue to slow, your breathing becomes more steady, and your mind begins to settle into a place where peace is no longer something you are searching for, but something you are starting to feel. And that is where your shift becomes real. As this calm begins to settle deeper within you, you start to notice something that was always there, but you were too overwhelmed to see it clearly. You have been holding on to too much, not just situations, but expectations, not just responsibilities, but outcomes. You have been trying to control things that were never fully in your control, trying to predict what will happen, trying to fix what feels broken, trying to make everything work, even when it clearly wasn't. And without realizing it, that constant effort has been draining you. Because control feels like strength. But when it is overused, it becomes pressure. And that pressure is what has been exhausting you. But right now, you are no longer trying to carry everything the same way. You are beginning to release, not because everything is solved, but because you understand that holding on to everything is not helping you anymore. And this is where surrender begins, not as a sign of weakness, but as a shift in awareness. A decision to stop forcing what is not moving. A decision to stop chasing what is not opening. A decision to stop trying to understand everything at once. And instead, you begin to let go. Slowly, intentionally, without pressure, you release the need to control every outcome. You release the expectation that everything must make sense right now. You release the weight of trying to fix things that are beyond your reach. And as you do that, something inside you begins to change. Your mind starts to feel lighter. Your breathing becomes deeper, and the tension that you have been holding begins to dissolve, not all at once, but gradually, in a way that feels natural. And in that space, you begin to feel something you have been missing, relief. A quiet kind of relief that comes from no longer trying to carry everything alone. And that is where your strength actually begins, not in holding everything together, but in knowing when to let go, not in controlling everything, but in trusting that you do not have to. And right now, this is the step you are taking. You are choosing to release what is not yours to carry. You are choosing to trust what you cannot fully see. And you are choosing to allow God to take control of what you have been trying to manage alone. And as you remain in that choice, your mind continues to settle, your body continues to relax, and your entire state begins to shift from pressure into peace. And this is where everything begins to change. And now, As you remain in this quiet space, this is where you begin to speak. Not with pressure, not with perfect words, but with honesty, because prayer is not about saying everything the right way. It is about bringing everything as it is, and right now, this is your moment to do that. God, I come before you exactly as I am, not with everything figured out, not with clear answers, not with complete understanding, but with a heart that feels heavy, a mind that has been overwhelmed, and a spirit that is ready to release what it has been holding for too long. You see everything that I have been carrying. You see the thoughts that keep returning. You see the pressure that I cannot explain. You see the weight that I have been trying to manage on my own. And even when I cannot fully express it, you understand it completely, because nothing is hidden from you. Not my struggles, not my doubts, not the things I try to ignore during the day but feel more strongly when everything becomes quiet. And right now, I am done pretending that I can carry all of this alone. I am done trying to control everything. I am done trying to understand everything all at once. So I release it. I release every expectation that is weighing me down. I release every situation that I cannot control. I release every thought that keeps pulling me into confusion and overthinking. Because I understand now that holding on to everything is not strength. It is weight. And that weight has been exhausting me. So God, I give it to you. Not just the easy parts, but the difficult parts. Not just what I understand, but also what I do not understand. I give you the waiting. I give you the uncertainty. I give you the frustration that has been building inside me, because you see it all, even the things I cannot put into words. And in this moment, I choose to trust you, not because everything makes sense, but because I know you are still in control. Even when nothing around me seems to be working, you are still working. Even when I do not see progress, you are still moving. Even when everything feels still, you are still preparing something beyond what I can see right now. And right now, I stop trying to force everything into place. I stop trying to solve everything at once. I stop trying to carry everything by myself, and I place it all into your hands. And as I do that, something inside me begins to settle. Not because everything has changed, but because I am no longer holding it all alone. And that is where my peace begins. And as you stay in this moment, something deeper begins to form inside you. Not something loud, not something dramatic, but something steady, a quiet awareness that you do not have to carry everything anymore. Because for so long, you believed that if you did not figure things out, nothing would change. You believed that if you did not hold everything together, everything would fall apart. So you kept thinking, you kept trying, you kept pushing yourself, even when you were already tired. And without realizing it, you made yourself responsible for things that were never fully yours to control. And that is where the pressure came from. Not just from your situation, but from the weight of trying to manage everything at once. But right now, that weight is no longer sitting on you the same way. Because something inside you is shifting. You are beginning to understand that control is not the same as peace. And holding everything together is not the same as being strong. Because real strength is knowing when to release what is not yours to carry. And real peace comes when you stop trying to control what only God can handle. And right now, you are stepping into that realization. You are allowing yourself to loosen your grip. You are allowing yourself to stop forcing outcomes. You are allowing yourself to step back and trust that things can move forward, even without your constant effort. And that is not easy, because letting go can feel unfamiliar. It can feel like you are doing less, like you are giving up control, like you are stepping into uncertainty. But in reality, you are stepping into trust, and that changes everything. Because when you trust, you no longer need to see every step clearly. You no longer need to understand every detail. You no longer need to have everything figured out before you move forward. Instead, you allow God to lead. You allow Him to guide what you cannot see. You allow Him to handle what you cannot control. And as you remain in that space, your mind begins to settle even more. The constant thinking slows down. The need to solve everything fades. And the pressure that once felt overwhelming begins to dissolve, not instantly, but gradually, in a way that feels real. And in that state, you begin to feel something you have been missing, a sense of stability, a grounded kind of calm that is not dependent on everything going perfectly, but on your decision to trust God with everything that is uncertain. And that is where your peace becomes deeper, not temporary, but steady, not forced, but natural. And right now, you are allowing that peace to grow inside you. As you remain in this calm and steady space, something begins to feel different inside you. Not because your situation has suddenly changed, but because you are no longer holding on to it the same way. Earlier, every thought felt important. Every idea felt urgent. Every problem felt like something you needed to fix immediately. And that is what created the tension. That is what kept your mind moving, without rest. That is what made everything feel heavier than it actually was. But right now, that urgency is fading. You are no longer reacting to every thought. You are no longer chasing every worry. You are no longer trying to solve everything all at once. Instead, you are allowing your thoughts to slow down. You are allowing space to form. And you are allowing yourself to stay present, without being pulled into everything that once felt overwhelming. And that is a powerful shift, because when your mind is not controlling you, you begin to feel grounded. When you are not reacting to everything, your emotions begin to settle. And when you are not carrying everything at once, your entire state becomes lighter. And in this space, you begin to understand something deeper. Your thoughts are not commands. They are not instructions. And they do not define your reality, unless you choose to follow them. And right now, you are choosing something different. You are choosing to observe, instead of react. You are choosing to remain still, instead of being pulled in every direction. And you are choosing to allow your mind to rest, instead of constantly engaging with everything that appears. And that choice creates freedom, because you are no longer trapped in overthinking. You are no longer controlled by every worry. You are no longer pulled away from this moment. And as that continues, your calm becomes more stable. Your breathing remains steady. Your body stays relaxed, without effort. And in that state, you begin to feel something deeper than just the absence of stress. You begin to feel peace, a real kind of peace that does not depend on everything being perfect, but on your willingness to let go and trust God with what you cannot control. And as you remain in that awareness, your connection with God begins to feel more real, not distant, not abstract, but present, a quiet presence that does not rush you, that does not pressure you, and that does not require you to have everything together. And as you stay there, you begin to feel safe, not because everything is solved, but because you are no longer trying to face everything alone. And that is where your strength becomes steady, not forced, but rooted in trust. And right now, you are allowing that strength to grow. As you continue resting in this quiet space, you begin to notice how natural this calm is becoming. At first it may have felt unfamiliar. To slow down like this, to not chase every thought, to not respond to every feeling that came into your mind. But now something is different. This calm no longer feels forced. It feels steady. It feels real. Because your mind is no longer being pulled in different directions. Your attention is no longer divided between everything that once felt urgent. And your focus is no longer scattered across thoughts that never gave you peace. Instead, everything inside you is beginning to align. Your thoughts are quieter, your emotions are more balanced, and your body is relaxed in a way that feels natural, not forced. And that alignment is what allows your rest to go deeper. Because when your mind and your body are no longer working against each other, your entire system begins to settle. And as you stay in this moment, you begin to notice something else. You are no longer holding on to the same tension you had before. You are no longer carrying the same pressure. And you are no longer reacting to your thoughts in the same way. And that is the shift that has taken place. Not something dramatic, not something loud, but something real, something steady, something that you can return to whenever you need it. And as you remain in this calm, you begin to feel a deeper sense of trust, not forced belief, but a quiet knowing, a knowing that you do not have to go back into that state of overthinking, a knowing that you do not have to pick everything up again, a knowing that you do not have to return to the same patterns that were draining you, because now, you understand something that you did not fully see before. You understand how to slow down, you understand how to create space, and you understand how to let go, and that changes how you move forward. Because you are no longer reacting to everything. You are choosing how you respond, and that gives you control in a different way. Not control over everything, but control over how you experience what is happening. And in that space, you begin to recognize something important. You do not have to carry today into tomorrow. You do not have to solve everything before you rest. And you do not have to hold on to every thought in order to move forward. Because rest is not something you earn. It is something you allow, and right now, you are allowing it. You are choosing to release. You are choosing to trust. And you are choosing to remain in this calm, without trying to change anything. And as you stay there, your night begins to feel different. Not heavy, not tense, but calm, steady, and peaceful in a way that prepares you for true rest and renewal. And now, as you reach this final moment of stillness, take a slow breath and recognize what has changed inside you. Because when you first began this moment, your mind may have been full, your thoughts may have been heavy, your body may have been holding tension. Without you even realizing it, there may have been pressure, confusion, and a quiet sense of exhaustion that followed you into this space. But now something is different. Your breathing is slower, your thoughts are quieter, and your body is more relaxed in a way that feels natural. Not forced, not because everything in your life has been solved, but because you have chosen to release what you cannot carry and to step into a place of trust instead of control. And that is where real rest begins, not in having all the answers, not in fixing every problem, but in allowing yourself to let go and trusting God with what is beyond your understanding. And as you remain in this calm, allow yourself to fully settle into it. Do not try to change anything. Do not try to go back to what was pulling your attention earlier. Just remain here, breathing slowly, letting go completely, because this moment is enough. This stillness is enough, and this peace is enough to carry you into a deep and restful sleep that restores your mind, your body, and your spirit. And as you prepare to close your eyes, bring your awareness gently to God, not with effort, not with pressure, but with quiet trust, knowing that you are not alone, knowing that you are being held in this moment, and knowing that you do not have to carry anything with you into the night that does not belong to you, because God is taking what you have released, and He is holding what you cannot handle, and that allows you to rest, without fear, without pressure, and without the need to control everything. And as you continue to breathe slowly, allow your body to relax even more deeply. Let your shoulders soften, let your thoughts fade, let your mind settle into the quiet, and let this truth remain with you. You have done enough for today. You have carried enough for today, and you do not need to do anything else in this moment, except rest, because tomorrow will come with its own strength, its own clarity, and its own direction, and you will meet it differently, not overwhelmed, not scattered, but grounded, calm, and ready. And as you close your eyes, allow this peace to remain within you, allow this calm to stay with you, and allow your mind to rest in the quiet, knowing that everything does not have to be solved tonight for you to be okay, because you are safe, you are held, and you are not alone. And as you drift into rest, let this final truth settle inside you. God is with you, God is for you, and God is already working in your life, even now. And with that truth, let go completely and rest. Amen.